Welcome back. As we earlier said, as we're approaching the winter season, we're not in it yet, but we're approaching winter season. And with all the preparations for a totally blooming winter season for tourism, which is also going to be a booming one, especially in Egypt because of the weather, we have with us live over the phone Mr. Hamy Zayat, our tourism expert. Good morning, Mr. Zayat.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir? Of course, we're expecting a totally new 2022-2023 winter season here in Egypt as a totally new tourism season, which is also going to be very successful because of the good weather. Compared to Europe and the United States and other European countries. So how do you expect that season to take place?
Well, I do expect a rebound in tourism, and there are indications of this rebound. I mean, it's very obvious. We see good reservations for the month of October, November, December, and so on. And that's a very, very good sign. Why is this happening? It's because people were fed up of staying home after COVID-19. Were scared to travel during the war at the beginning, the war with Ukraine and Russia. And so now they want to get out at any price. Plus, there were some nationalities that were completely forbidden to travel, like Australian and New Zealanders. They will start traveling abroad and receiving guests from abroad this August, or they did start, as a matter of fact. So this makes all the most that people want to travel. There is a need, and effectively there is more than a reason why they should look at Egypt as a destination. First, we have COP27. COP27, I expect during and after COP27, we'll have a big boom in Egypt. Because when you have a conference, it always reflects on the future. You always get good bookings in the future. Why? Because people, they hear from their friends who are in Egypt and they would come back. And this is at no cost to us. It comes automatically because of the conference. And we have seen this before in 1994 when you have ICPD or the population conference in Egypt. We had a lot of good bookings despite the fact this was the worst time for Cairo because of the attempts from the fanatics, as you remember. So we saw a good season in '95 because of the conference. And now I see Egypt more and more involved in conference. And our president is very excited at doing this, and he's doing it. We are having African conferences, we are having this and that and that. And this immediately, it derives travel to Egypt from the friends of the conference. Now, the conference is also a good way to attract very good spenders because we would sell, or the hotel sell the room single and double at the same price. So the conferee, he can bring his companion or her companion at a cheaper cost because all what it costs him is breakfast or the food because the room is paid for by whoever is inviting him. And if he's not invited, it's usually in the advanced country, it's reduced from his taxes. So there are many reasons why he should bring the companion. So this makes additional people, and we have to bear in mind that the conferee spends 5 times at least the normal tourist spending, which is excellent for the country, for the income. I spoke about certain reasons about the conference of COP27, but we have to also bear in mind that people are expecting the new museum, the Great Museum, the GEM, as we call it, the Great Egyptian Museum, to open sometime next year. In waiting for this opening, people are getting prepared to travel, and we see bookings, tentative bookings coming in, because some people would like to come just to see the new museum. It's unbelievable how many people it attracts overseas. We have now the Civilization Museum, which is open, and if you remember, we had this fabulous procession of the kings of Egypt, kings and queens, of course, going to the new museum. This was absolutely fantastic, and it had a lot of positive repercussion at the time. Even people were stranded at home, but they watched TV. And I say always, finally, they rest in peace, the pharaohs, our great pharaohs, in the most beautiful surrounding, because if you visit this museum, it's worthwhile, because you see how each tomb or simile-tomb was done with a way of showing the greatness of the pharaoh who was ruling at the time, and the mummy is there. Instead of lying in simple coffins on the second floor of the ancient Egyptian museum. So this is one good reason. Another reason is the attraction of the prices. This is very important. Our prices are fair. They have not increased dramatically. We do have some increase, but it's not very much. So this also is an attraction. And then we also have a very, very crucial point. You always, when you talk about a destination and you want visitors, you have to see how they can reach it. So now we have 4 major hubs for airline. It means it's a place from which airline fly anywhere and then fly to Egypt. So we have one in Turkey, in Istanbul, one in Dubai, one in Qatar, one in Abu Dhabi, and one in South Africa. And one, you would be surprised, in Ethiopia, because they fly to the west, to South America and to the United States. So all these airlines fly to Cairo. So without airline, you can't get people. So now we are, Egypt and Cairo airport is served by many, many legacy carriers, carrier of these countries that are big, and they can carry them. And we see, as a matter of fact, many people coming from South America via Istanbul or via Dubai. And the airlines are clever. They offer a layover, which means a free hotel accommodation for one night in their destination, so that people can visit their destination later on. And some of them do offer the same price. If you see, for instance, from South Africa to Cairo via the Gulf countries, you pay the same price as if you would go to just the Gulf country. So this is attracting also the clients. So I think there will be a very, very big boom. Now, which countries we will expect, or we do already have heavy requests? It's United States, UK, Germany, all Western, ex-Western Europe. And I'm speaking now about lucrative tourism, which is tourism that brings a lot of money. Of course, the tourism to Hurghada and the Balnear visit never stopped. It's less up, down, but without the Russians, without the Ukrainian, which were representing a very good number, we still have some others. We have Polish now, we have Czechs. So Egypt is always full of people, whether for recreation, for visits of the culture. And when I say the culture, is not only the monuments, but also we have the opera house, we have the museums, we have 70 museums in Egypt, which we should promote as well. So it's a wealth of things we can offer to the client.
Of course, on this note, Mr. Hamy Zayat, our tourism expert, would like to thank you, sir, very much talking to The Breakfast Show, and you have a beautiful day. And by this, we come to the end of this edition of The Breakfast Show for today. Tomorrow is another new edition, and until we see you again, that's a goodbye.